Welcome once again to Commander by Danon. In order to stay organized, my wife and I have numbered each video. You may recall that last summer I released my 500th video. And while we're not to episode 1000 yet, we are at a very important milestone, 666. Now, many believe this number is associated with evil. And in Magic, there is no one more evil than Nicol Bolas. So for today's video, we're going to build the most evil deck I can think of, led by Nicol Bolas the Ravager. Also, and I know it's annoying to keep hearing this, but statistically, if I don't ask you to like and subscribe, the video gets fewer subscribers. Nicol Bolas the Ravager is a 4-mana 4/4 legendary Elder Dragon with flying. When he enters the battlefield, each opponent discards a card. We may pay 7 mana and exile Nicol Bolas the Ravager, and return him to the battlefield transformed under his owner's control. But we may only do this at sorcery speed. Transformed, he becomes Nicol Bolas the Arisen, a legendary planeswalker with 7 starting loyalty powering 4 abilities. If we add 2, we draw 2 cards. If we remove 3, we deal 10 damage to target creature or planeswalker. If we remove 4, we put target creature or planeswalker from a graveyard onto the battlefield. Finally, if we remove 12, we exile all but the bottom card of target player's library. So, Bolas is a villain. Quite possibly the best villain in the history of Magic, with the possible exception of Yawgmoth, of course. But what is the most evil thing we can do to our opponents? Stacks? Prison? Stealing their stuff? How about discard? To me, nothing is more evil than letting your opponents draw cards, only to see them go to the graveyard, unable to play them. So this will be a Nicol Bolas discard deck. Also, I know that lately I've been doing a lot of budget decks on this channel. Most decks are around $50 unless they were a patron build. But I've enjoyed the challenge of building these $50 decks and will continue to focus on them in the future. However, this deck is not going to be a budget deck. So, apologies to your wallet. But before we get to our deck list, a quick word from our sponsor, Ultimate Guard. The Return to Earth Boulder series is unique in that they are made almost entirely of renewable resources, rather than plastic. And lately, Ultimate Guard has been printing these not just in solid colors, but with artist print, like this gorgeous piece by Mario Renault. Titled In Icy Bloom, it shows a somber scene of a snow-covered graveyard beneath a tree. Its leaves turned red in the late autumn. Pick yours up today at your local game store or order it on Amazon. Link down below. In order to build a functional commander deck, you need lots of different pieces, which is why I try to rely on my handy-dandy checklist. 50 mana sources, usually split between 37 lands and 13 pieces of ramp, 10 pieces of card advantage, 8 to 10 pieces of spot removal, 2 to 3 board wipes, 2 pieces of graveyard hate, and 1 sudden I win card. Oh, one more quick announcement before we get started. I'm currently streaming with my son over on Musings by Danon as well as Twitch. It'll mostly be Final Fantasy XIV, but you're more than welcome to pop in and talk about Commander. Honestly, about half my streams are talking about manga, anime, or Commander. Our land base consists of Command Tower, Exotic Orchard, Polluted Delta, Bloodstained Mire, Scalding Tarn, Flooded Strand, Verdant Catacombs, Wooded Foothills, Xander's Lounge, Watery Grave, Blood Crypt, Steam Vents, Morphic Pool, Luxury Suite, Training Center, Shipwreck Marsh, Haunted Ridge, Stormcarved Coast, Drowned Catacomb, Dragon Skull Summit, Sulphur Falls, Undercity Sewers, Raucous Theater, Thundering Falls, Gyre Reach Sanitarium, Bajuka Bog, 3 islands, 5 swamps, and 2 mountains. If you're wondering whether the majority of our budget went towards our mana base, the answer is yes. For mana ramp, we've got Sol Ring, Arcane Signet, Talisman of Dominance, Talisman of Indulgence, Talisman of Creativity, Dimir Signet, Rakdos Signet, Izzet Signet, Mind Stone, Thought Vessel, Decanter of Endless Water, Chromatic Lantern, Thrawn Dynamo, and Gilded Lotus. Simple and straightforward. Nothing thematic, I know, but that's fine. Sometimes you just want your mana ramp to help you cast spells. Our card advantage package consists of Geth's Grimoire, Windfall, Dark Deal, Siphon Mind, Rhystic Study, Teferi's Ageless Insight, Tiny Bones Trinket Thief, Notion Thief, Magus of the Wheel, Jace's Archivist, Dream Salvage, Seagate Restoration, Demonic Tutor, and Vampiric Tutor. Lots of ways to force our opponents to discard as well as payoffs for discarding, plus some tutors. For interaction and spot removal, we've got Withering Torment, Ashiok Dreamrender, Narset Parter of Veils, The Eldest Reborn, Deuthi Voidwalker, Counterspell, Negate, Bedevil, Chaos Warp, Rakdos Charm, and Commit Memory. A good mix of counter magic, spot removal, and stacks effects. Our board wipes consist of Blasphemous Edict, Blasphemous Act, Toxic Deluge, and Cyclonic Rift. Lots of ways to reset the board as needed. The core of our deck consists of Aquazot's Deepest Betrayal, Nicol Bolas Dragon God, Bandit's Talent, Kroxa Titan of Death's Hunger, Painful Quandary, Nicol Bolas Godpharaoh, Angrath the Flame Chained, Rankle Master of Pranks, The Haunt of Hightower, Necrogoyf, Liliana of the Veil, and Liliana Waker of the Dead. Supporting our plan, we've got Waste Not, Bone Miser, Liliana's Caress, Megrim, Raider's Wake, Fel Spectre, Tiny Bones, Bauble Burglar, and Tergrid, God of Fright. Of course we're running Tergrid. Why do you think we need the tutors? Now that we have our deck list, let's compare it to our checklist. 51 mana sources split between 36 lands, 14 pieces of ramp, and 1 MDFC. A little heavy, but our curve is a bit high, so it's fine. 14 pieces of card advantage. 11 pieces of interaction, not counting all our discard effects. 4 board wipes. 5 pieces of graveyard hate in Commit Memory, Deuthi Voidwalker, Rakdos Charm, Ashiok Dreamrender, and Bojuka Bog. 1 Sudden I Win card in Narset Parter of Veils. Yes, we are that meme. This deck is designed to wheel while Narset Parter of Veils is on board. Whether we're doing it once with Windfall or Dark Deal, or turn after turn with Jace's Archivist, we are keeping our opponent's hand size to 1. And then we just need to plus Liliana of the Veil or Liliana Waker of the Dead, or Nicol Bolas Godpharaoh, or any of a number of other planeswalkers in this deck to keep their hands at 0. The entire goal of this deck is to ensure we never need to cast a counterspell, because our opponents won't have any spells to cast in the first place. Also, just in case they have a graveyard deck that wants them to have a full graveyard, we have more than enough graveyard hate to keep them in check. With this, we either use Tergrid to steal their stuff and beat them to death with their own creatures, or an abnormally large Haunt of Hightower to close out the game. What? I told you this deck was evil. Do you have a Nicol Bolas the Ravager deck? What's your secret deck? Leave a comment below. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, a huge shout out to my editor Cute Stuff. I couldn't make these videos without her. If you'd like to hire her to edit your own videos, she can be reached at cutestuff.edits at gmail.com. Link is down below. If you're looking for ways to support the channel directly, you can head on over to patreon.com/Danon. You could have a video made or just ask for help building or tuning a deck list. I also want to give a quick shout out to all of my patrons: Waffles, Jiraiya, Muffins, Marcus, Brett, Roxy, Alex, Borgi, Nazwin Konga, Aaron, Chris, Robert, William, Pi, Kazaris, Booksu, Patrick, Naffy, Noodle, Tiz, Art, Richard, Devin, Lucius, Sint, Om, and Boomy. You guys are awesome. I post new Commander Deck videos every weekday, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified of new videos. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again next time on Commander by Damon.